It just feels like every sport has that one person who's considered one of the greatest. That one person that everybody respects and admires. That one person with an outstanding amount of talent and willpower. That one person that despite all their hard work remains to be a prince but never becomes a king. In the vast and storied history of chess, just a few players have come as close to the pinnacle as Fabiano Caruana. His brilliance, his precision, his vision of the 64 squares, just remarkable. And even though he is considered to be one of the best chess players, he still hasn't earned his well-deserved World Championship title. Now some of you might say Fabiano Caruana simply didn't deserve a title. I mean, it's a valid argument considering the fact that he had the same chances every other top chess player had. And still, we can't deny the fact that whenever Fabiano Caruana takes part in a tournament, he's considered to be one of the favorites or strongest players. I mean, he did have his fair chance against Magnus in 2018, where Magnus publicly named him his strongest opponent ever. And it's not like Magnus earned his 5 World Championship titles by playing semi-pros. No, in fact he played chess legend Viswanathan Anand twice and Jan Nepomniachtchi and Sergei Karyakin once. So being titled strongest opponent in this kind of a field is quite the achievement. Fabiano's first real approach to challenge Magnus Carlsen for World Championship title was in 2016 when he took part in the well-known Candidates Tournament. With players like Viswanathan Anand, Levon Aronian, Hikaru Nakamura, Anish Giri and more, the field was super packed. And since Fabiano Caruana had the highest rating of them all, he was one of the favorites to win, even though he was just 24 years of age. Well, it turned out that Fabiano Caruana ended up in a must-win situation with the black pieces in round 14 against Sergei Karyakin, since a draw would have favored Karyakin in the tiebreaks. The game was pretty dramatic all the way up to move 36, where eventually Fabiano would blunder away the game in one move by playing rook e4. Karyakin then sacrificed his rook for a pawn, earning him a win against Fabiano and therefore becoming challenger against Magnus Carlsen. The issue was that the e-pawn would take Karyakin's rook and then the queen would then take the pawn. If black doesn't react, there is checkmate on the board with queen to d7, and also you can't protect the king by playing rook d8 because of queen f7 checkmate. Sergei Karyakin and Fabiano Caruana played another 6 moves until Fabiano eventually resigned the game, which meant Sergei Karyakin became the challenger against Magnus Carlsen. Fabiano would end up getting a second chance just 2 years later in Berlin, where he ends up winning the Candidates Tournament by earning himself 9 out of 14 points. With an ELA rating of 28-23, he would go on and challenge Magnus Carlsen for the World Championship title in London. 12 rounds of classical chess would be played, and many considered this matchup to be one of the strongest ever, since both players had an ELA rating above 2800. Fans definitely expected a very stressful and competitive match, since Magnus was one of the greatest anyways, and Fabiano was labeled as the chess player that plays like an engine. Now, if you know chess well enough, you probably also know that a perfectly played chess game played by 2 engines always ends up in a draw. And funny enough, exactly that is what the viewers got. A whopping 12 rounds of high-level chess with the result always being a draw. No player has ever managed to break Magnus the way Fabiano did, but eventually it would be Magnus breaking Fabiano's dreams of becoming a world champion. You see, playing 12 rounds of draws meant the players had to go and play tiebreaks. Whoever reached 2.5 points first would win and become world champion. Fabiano lost round 1 and 2 of the tiebreaks against Magnus Carlsen, who literally played perfect chess. I guess you could say he was world champion for a reason. It was game 3 of the tiebreaks though that would crush all dreams and hopes for Fabiano. With Magnus promoting his c-pawn to a queen and having 2 queens on the board, there wasn't really much more Fabiano could play for. He tried one more last tricky move by playing pawn to f4 to somehow get a forced draw. But with Magnus simply protecting the g3 square with his second queen, even the last glimpse of hope faded away for Fabiano, and not only did he resign the game, but also the match and his dreams.
And the match is over.
Unfortunately for Fabiano, it is time to resign and tell Magnus that he can be world champion for 2 more years at least.
Very painful playoff for Fabiano.
I wonder if he would try something, anything, although his position is completely lost, or he will resign. C8 queen is on the board. Magnus Carlsen is winning game 3 as well in the rapid playoffs. f4, a last try by the challenger
To finish this game.
And now it's a handshake. Magnus Carlsen defends his title in London.
Now, losing 3 rapid games in a tiebreak against the world champion would crush many super GMs, and surely it did crush Fabiano too. But one thing was clear, even though Fabiano eventually lost, he definitely earned his respect in front of a lot of chess fans and chess players, because no one has ever given Magnus such a match as Fabiano did. Now fast forward to year 2025, we had a lot of drama and scandals happening in the chess world. One big topic was Magnus not wanting to defend his world championship Championship title and basically stepping down from classical chess.
I am not motivated to play another match. I simply feel that I don't have a lot to gain.
And with Magnus not defending his title, many Super GMs saw their chance of finally becoming a world champion. The FIDE rules state that if a world champion doesn't want to defend his title, the candidate's winner will not automatically become the champion, but first and second place finisher would compete in a match against each other. The 2022 candidates ended with a disappointing 4th place for Fabiano, which meant Ding Liren would play Jan Nepomniachtchi for World Championship crown. Ding Liren ended up winning the match in a very emotional way, even though he was actually never even really qualified for the 2022 candidates in the first place. A topic many GMs discuss about.
I can hardly call it a World Championship match. So for me, the World Championship match should include the strongest player on the planet, and this match doesn't.
And also a topic Fabiano Caruana would address after the FIDE World Blitz and Rapid Championship 2024.
I'll be honest, Ding didn't win the candidates, he didn't even qualify for the candidates, and he made it to a World Championship match without qualifying. So, does anyone care?
It's not really the players Fabiano seems to be annoyed about, but more the organization FIDE itself. Surely it must be really hard when someone fights and studies all his life to achieve a certain dream, but never ends up wearing the crown. And with FIDE bending their rules to comfort certain players, it just seems like chess players such as Fabiano Caruana start to question the integrity of the biggest chess organization. And just a little quick change of topic, if you guys want to know what scandals exactly happened in the World Blitz and Rapid Championship, we highly suggest you to watch this video where we explain every little scandal, from Dubov not playing Hans Niemann due to protest, Magnus dropping out of a tournament because of a pair of jeans, and the match-fixing allegations between Magnus and Jan Nepomniachtchi, who would go down in history for 2 players winning the same World Championship title at the same time. Now let's continue with the video. The 2024 FIDE candidates was Fabiano's last approach to win the candidates and also challenge Ding Liren for World Championship title. With Hikaru Nakamura, Jan Nepomniachtchi, Gukesh Domarayu and Fabiano Caruana all having a chance to win the candidates, round 14 was a very stressful one. Gukesh and Hikaru played against each other and their game ended in a draw, meaning Gukesh would be the winner of the tournament if the game between Fabiano and Nepo also ended in a draw. Fabiano did have a chance against Jan, but when he played King to A1 on move 41, he basically gave them away. Later, up to move 65, he would outplay Jan again and have a clear advantage, but unfortunately he doesn't find the right move and plays Queen C6, giving Nepo's king a check. This blunder results in a draw. The best move would have been Queen E8, and if Fabiano would have found that move, the game would have continued in Fabiano's favor. The players would play 43 more moves and agree to a draw on move 109, which meant Gukesh was the winner, and Fabiano again didn't get a chance to play for World Championship title. His next big chance is the 2026 Candidates Tournament, where again there will be 8 players fighting for the #1 spot to eventually challenge the young and very talented Gukesh Domarayu. And since everybody knows that alone qualifying for the candidates is very tough and only the best manage to do so, we can give you some good news if you are a Fabiano Caruana fan just like we are. Because Fabiano Caruana is the first player to qualify for the 2026 candidates since he led and won the FIDE Circuit in 2024. We will be looking forward to that tournament. We know there will be so much more going on in the chess world, and with many other strong players, Fabiano definitely will have to show us his A game to win the candidates and then also maybe the World Championship crown. And with this, we say thank you for watching. We hope you liked the video, and if so, please subscribe to the channel and like the video. Thank you very much.